You know, all last year, I was touring with arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, living comedian, Chris Rock. Me and him toured all year last year. And right before that tour started, Chris was involved in what we blacks might even consider a goddamn 9/11. Chris got slapped in the face at the Oscars by Will Smith, which was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. In fact, if you watch it live on television like I did, when it happened, I thought it was fake. I did, and I wasn't sure, so you know what I did? I waited, because I'm like you, I know Chris. I waited like 30, 40 minutes, as long as it would take him to get to another party. And I called him on FaceTime, and he picked up. As soon as he picked up, he said, "You was the only nigga I had to answer the phone for." Apparently, Obama and Oprah, everybody had called this nigga to see if everything was all right. And I thought it was fake. I didn't know. So I asked him, I go, well, you know. He said, "What?" I said, "Well, did it hurt?" And he said, "Yes, nigga, it hurt." And then I knew that it was real. And then, and only then, was I offended. And I wasn't just offended that he got slapped. That was only half of it. The real offensive part was that after they slapped him, this nigga Will just sat down and enjoyed the rest of his evening. It was crazy. It was just... The fuck is this? And then all year, we was touring, and I couldn't wait to see what he was going to say in his special about this slap. And I toured him all year, but the night he taped his special, Chris was one of these guys that's crafty. You never know what he's going to say until he really says it. So I went to see him tape his special. He taped it right up the street in Baltimore. Now, you guys are from D.C., so you know about Baltimore. We all know that through the years, D.C. has been through some very, very tough times. Sadly, Baltimore is still in a very tough time. Not everybody in the world really can understand the depth of Baltimore. Baltimore is so desperate that Tupac and his mother moved from Baltimore to Oakland for a better life. And Chris Rock went so hard in the paint, and I can't believe he did this, he shocked a Baltimore crowd. I didn't even know that was possible. I started doing comedy around here. Shocked them. And you know what he said that got him? He looked at the crowd, he walked, I didn't expect him to say this. He looked at the crowd, it was all black, Baltimore black. Even if you rich and black in Baltimore, you know them niggas is traumatized about something. And Chris shocked him, and this is what he said. He went to that crowd. He said, "I refuse to be a victim." And the crowd said, "Oh." And I was backstage looking like, nigga, watch the tape. I know it's fucked up, but I'll tell you the truth. You know, everything's funny. Everything's funny till it happens to you. 3 months, a mere 3 months after that terrible attack that Chris Rock endured, I was on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, and a lunatic jumped out of the crowd and attacked me. Now, I gotta tell you, if it happens to you, you don't even know what the fuck is happening. It was like slow motion. I just looked over. I don't know this nigga. And I was looking, I said, "Oh my God, I'm being attacked." And this motherfucker was ragged. He jumped at me. He was like, "Ah!" I'm old, but I'm fast. I caught this motherfucker's head with my hand and pulled his hoodie over his eyes. I can still feel his head in my hand. It was spongy. He had been growing dreadlocks. Not the beautiful dreads that Rastafarians grow. These were accidental LA homeless dreads. This shit had leaves and sticks and bottle caps and shit in it, some kind of grease. I was like, ugh, like this. And then I fell down. And he knocked me all the way on the ground. And I was like, man, this is a bad situation. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna die or what's gonna happen. But in that moment of vulnerability, you know what occurred to me that had never occurred to me before in my life? In that moment, it occurred to me that bodyguards should not wear dress shoes to work. Travis! This nigga Travis came out slipping and sliding on some kind of beautiful loafer and fell flat on his back. Pop! I said, oh my God. Now both of us are down. I gotta handle this shit myself. So I popped right back, boom. And then the kid that knocked me down, he popped out, boom. And we looked at each other and realized at the same time, I was bigger than him. And that motherfucker took off running. And I started to chase him and I said, fuck him. I picked the microphone up. I said, I'm gonna finish this show now. That's right. For 3 months before that, I'd been making fun of Chris Rock. And people would ask me all the time. They'd say, Dave, what would you do if you were Chris Rock and Will Smith slapped you in the face? And to this day, the answer is the same. Well, I don't know what I would have done. I've never been in a situation that extreme. But I do know now what Will Smith would not have done. And that is enjoy the rest of his evening. Man, listen. We gave that kid a good while. We was whooping his ass. Not we, I mean, I was on stage trying to think of a joke to tell, but they was beating this nigga up right behind me. Everybody could see it. Everybody could see it. And I'm sitting up there trying to think of what to say. And I'm tongue-tied. Me, of all people, can't think of anything to say. Look at my karma. Just that moment. Of all the people in the world, Chris Rock walks from backstage, walks up to me in front of 20,000 people, grabs the mic out of my hands and looks at the crowd and goes, was that Will Smith? Man, motherfuckers fell out of their chairs laughing. I was standing there looking stupid. I was fucking furious, because I'm thinking in my mind, nigga, this is my attack. You got attacked 3 months ago. Now you have jokes? So I snatched the mic back from Chris and tried to get one off, but my shit did not go good at all. I didn't know what to say. I was just like, it was a trans man. And the crowd was like, boo. It's LA, we like trans people, boo. I know, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. But I know why I did it. You'd have to be there to understand, but man, when that guy tackled me, it was like it's like a movie or something. You gotta picture this. Picture a famous person you like. Every famous person you could imagine was at that show. It was like the biggest night that Hollywood had ever seen. And when that guy tackled me, he cleared the bleachers. I had to watch the tape afterwards to know this happened, but as soon as he tackled me, Jamie Foxx was the first motherfucker that jumped out of the crowd. He was wearing a white cowboy hat like he knew this shit was gonna happen to him. Never seen this nigga in a cowboy hat before. And Jamie started chasing that motherfucker around like any given Sunday. And that kid was fast as shit, was juking and shaking, and they broke Jamie's ankles, and he just kept running. And then Jon Stewart from The Daily Show ran from backstage and jumped at this motherfucker like Super Jew. He was like, ah! And the kid seen Jon coming, so he jumped back, and Jon went flying that way. And this kid was fast, and then he turned around. He sees the emergency exit. He starts running for the emergency exit. Just before he got to the door, motherfucking Puff Daddy from Bad Boy Records jumped in front of the door. That nigga was like, Boy, Puffy got that motherfucker. And then every celebrity just ran out, because every celebrity saw themselves in me, and they just started beating the fuck out of that kid. And I know Chris was backstage looking like, nobody helped me. Everybody hates Chris. Look, it was way more intense than what you guys might have read. I don't know what you read, but the kid, while we was beating on him, reached in his waistband, pulled out a .22 caliber pistol. That shit was mayhem. Everybody started screaming, "Oh my God. Oh my God, he's got a gun. He's got a gun." And then I got scared. I was in the back, but I was scared. Because I knew that everybody that was with me was armed. Yes, if they had shot and killed this kid on stage at the Hollywood Bowl, like I pay you to do, Travis. But Travis G'd up. Travis wrestled the gun out of the kid's hand, and then he took it like this and tried to chamber the round, and he couldn't. So he pulled the trigger, and it wasn't a gun. A knife blade popped out of the front. I guess this kid was gonna stab me. Some scary shit. So the next night, even though I didn't have a show, I said, I gotta get right back on stage. And I went and did a show. And someone in the audience screamed out, "Dave, what happened with the attack?" And I didn't know there was journalists in the room. All I said was that this nigga had a knife that identified as a gun. I got 6 more weeks of bad press for that joke. I didn't even do nothing to this nigga. That was not right. That was not right. And then the New York Post went to the jail and interviewed my attacker like he was some kind of hero. And I read that interview. It turns out the entire attack was my fault. Yes, I triggered him. I didn't mean to. I had done jokes about the homeless. It turns out this young man was homeless. And I mean, there's no way I could have known this. But I will say, for a homeless guy, this nigga had incredible seats. Oh, and they said I triggered him because I had done LBGTQ jokes, and it turns out this fellow was a bee. That was the headline in the article. It said, "Dave Chappelle's alleged attacker is bisexual." I said, alleged attacker? This motherfucker definitely attacked me. I'll show you the tape. He's allegedly bisexual. I'm gonna need to see him suck somebody's dick before I believe the rest of this article. I read that shit in the paper. I was horrified. I was like, oh, bisexual? I could have been raped. No, you know what though?